Oh, yeah. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello to my friends and followers on the Facebook and the YouTubes and the Instagrams and all of my accounts for Siphonics Audio. Thank you very much for joining. Just mute my other self on here so I'm monitoring my stream. Hello, hello, hello to any who have joined. It is a little bit of a strange day to be doing something like this live because as of right now, from what I can tell, the Super Bowl halftime show is on, and a lot of people are not going to be watching YouTube right now, unless, of course, you're not into football and you're more into audio and community, and that's why we're here. So, hello and welcome. I'd like to just get that out of the way. Check on my mic levels, ask the audience to let me know how things sound. As far as I can tell, they sound good. Levels sound fine. Hello, Vel, what's going on? Welcome, welcome. Nice to see you. So this is going to be a pretty quick walkthrough. There are 3 shows that I'm looking at getting to this year. I am already scheduled for Florida. That will be next week. Wednesday, Thursday, ahead of the show, I'll be hanging out in Florida with some of the locals. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday are the show. And then I'll be back in town on Monday. So it should be a really great trip. The show is held in Tampa, Florida. Let me just get their page up. Let me see. Share the assets. Here we go. There we go. Looks good. Sounds good. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So here we are. We're going to browse the websites. This is how the show is going to go for anybody who joins in. You are welcome to join me during this session. I will add you to the stream and we can have a conversation about this stuff. So I can put the link either in a private chat or in the chat, depending on who's here, and then we'll go from there. Let me just move myself out of the way. So this is the Florida Audio Expo site. As you can see, February 16 to 18 next week. It is held in Tampa, Florida. Here's the location. Here's the when. You can pick up tickets still. It's available. Stereo exhibition, headphone exhibition. There is no multi-channel surround sound sort of exhibition as far as I can see. They haven't updated to include anything in the multi-channel display. However, I know that if you go into the exhibitor list, exhibitor floor plans, the best way that I like to observe, and we scroll down the list of vendors that are going to be showing, it shows you where on the map they are. And this is the ground floor, second floor areas. You have all of these kinds of names, brands, exhibitors, whether they're dealers or local distribution. All that stuff is listed here. And then we go up through the floors. So the first and second floor are occupied by the first set of rooms. And then they go up from there. So the third floor, we have all of these names. Fourth floor. And I'm looking for one in particular that does surround sound. Like I mentioned, there's not very many that do surround sound, but here's one that I feel like might be showcasing some surround options. SVS Sound has released their newest series speaker, the Evolution series. They have 3 towers, 2 bookshelves, I believe, a center channel, and they normally have a very small sort of surround sound type display at these shows. So multi-channel is represented by SVS, which is fantastic that there's that option. Most other rooms are going to be showcasing stuff like headphones, 2-channel, outdoor sound. I believe there's a brand. Let me see if I can find them by scrolling real quick. And while I'm scrolling, you can take a look and check out these names that are included. Of course, Gashelli Labs is going to be represented there. Win Audio is a Canadian distributor that I'm anxious to check out. Gershman Acoustics, also Canadian, that I'm looking forward to meeting up with and listening to their newest offerings. Let me see what else is here that I can recognize. Endow Orchard Audio, of course. I can't wait to hear the new and see the new amp chassis that they have. There's a lot of really good stuff there. Let me see. There's one other that's like an outdoor speaker, and I don't see them listed here, but maybe they're included in a different note. I got emails from a lot of brands to talk about what's being presented on each floor in each room. There's invites that are being sent out to press, which I can't really talk about the contents of, but they are all included here. So this is the exhibitor list that's available on the Audio Expo site for Florida. If you are curious at all, you can just have a look. Here's Just Audio being like a sale and distribution company. They also have a YouTube page, so shout out to Just Audio. They were really cool to hang out with at Axpona. Audio Note UK, I always have a fantastic time with those guys. Looking forward to seeing them. Here's another Canadian distribution brand or company, Angie at American Sound in Canada. They're north of the city here where I am in Toronto. They will be at Florida, which is amazing. I see at least 2 or 3 different brands from Canada that are going to be represented there. So that's fantastic to see that they're going down. Not Suncoast Audio, that's it's a real hospitality suite. So this is probably not going to be a demo room per se, but it sounds like it might be a rest stop for people up on the 6th floor. That's awesome. I was looking for a particular name, but I don't see them here. So they may be represented in another way. So, True Voice of Reason's here, but will you listen in Canadian? Only if they pay me. Only if they pay me in maple syrup will I be listening in Canadian. Eh? I've already been told to like step away from representing Canada with the catchphrases, but there it is. Coastal Source. This is a outdoor brand of speaker that has some fantastic sound for outdoor products. If you're in that kind of market where you want to entertain guests and you have like an outdoor pool or a patio or a deck or something like that, then you can use the Coastal Source outdoor speakers to listen outside in your house. It's really nice. I'm here for a tiny bit out working. Oh, that's cool. No worries. Thank you for joining and watching. I appreciate it, and commenting at the same time. Here's another Canadian brand that I always look forward to hearing. Acora Acoustics, fantastic stuff. As we know now that the owner of Acora Acoustics, Val, has purchased the audio research company, so that's fantastic. Those brands are going to be growing strong. Looking for any other names. I don't recognize anything off the top of my head, but then again, I'm not a know-it-all. I don't know every single brand and what their origins are. So that is that. That's Florida Audio Expo. This will be next week, as you see. So I just want to go over these lists real quick. On to the next show. This is Montreal Audio Fest. This will be happening in Montreal, March 22nd, 23rd, 24th weekend. The site is in French, I believe. There was a way to translate it, but I don't know where that is. Of course it's in French. It's in Montreal, and I don't discredit them for that at all. I can't list everything in English and French. I know that there's a tab that you can press to translate it, but I don't know where that is now. Translate to English. It's in English. Okay, anyways. So list of exhibitors. Montreal Audio Fest. Let's go. So this doesn't actually show the layout. Accommodations is going to be the rooms. You just click and see what this looks like. So it just gives you information about the hotel and location. It doesn't show you the rooms or the layouts. So these are going to be the dominant displays and brands. So I can tell automatically that there are a lot of Canadian brands here. So this one, Altitude Audio, is from the Winnipeg area in Canada. Annie Bisson, she's a Canadian singer. Art and Sound is, I believe, also Canadian. Artist Cloner, amazing Canadian brand. They have slate tile or slate cabinets. I've shown them in some of my photos before, so I don't want to go drawing up all of my photos from these events again, but amazing sounding speakers, really great drivers, good technology built into them. They're always impressive, very reasonably priced, and it's a kind of brand that has everything that you need, from cables to sources to speakers to amplifiers. They have everything under their library, so amazing to see. So obviously the Montreal Audiophile Association, that's Canadian. Atoll Electronics is I don't know if they're originally Canadian, but that's a Canadian distribution for them. Audio by Mark Jones, a Canadian company. Let me see. Audio Group, I don't know. Audio Group Denmark, obviously, that fantastic to see them coming back to a Canadian show. They were at Toronto Audio Fest, which is a great time. Looking forward to meeting them again. I will see them 2 shows back to back because they have 2 rooms also in Florida, so that's amazing. Betty Audio, that's also Canadian as far as I know. Blue Sound's represented by NAD. And Lenbrook, which is a Canadian company that owns those. That's awesome. Bryston, definitely Canadian. Lots of different brands and outlets here. HiFi Center. Then you've got Definitive Technology, Denon. I bet Marantz is going to be here. The reps from Focal Name America. I always have a lot of fun with them. That's amazing. Gershman, of course. Grado Canada, Golden Ear. So a lot of different brands here. Canto, Kef Canada, that's awesome. Cavro International, another group of guys that I love hanging out with. Kimber Canada, Kimber Cables, all in the same room. Fantastic group. Cavro is a group that I connected with at many of the audio shows to get to know more about Monitor Audio, Rotel. What else do they have? They have a couple of other different brands that under their umbrella, obviously not listed here, but if you're curious, Cavro International, that's how you'd look that up for Canadian distribution. LeMay Audio, awesome stuff. Lenbrook Americas, this is also one of those groups, like I said, has NAD, Blue Sound, Dolly Acoustics, or Dolly loudspeakers, PSB speakers, all under the same umbrella. There's Marantz listed, Martin Logan, another sort of Canadian brand owned. They're still made in the US. Moon by Sim Audio, which is another brand that I've been meaning to go and tour. They have a fantastic new series out, the North Series collection, which is really great. Trivious reason, been a few years since I was last in Montreal. Nice. Well, it's a nice city. A lot of party vibe. Like the show is usually really great. There's a lot of positive vibes, a lot of good people around to showcase, lots of energy. I mean, the US shows have sort of similar, but when I went down to Axpona last year, 2023, I was a little, I don't know, it was a bigger show. There's a lot of rooms, there were many floors, and I guess I was a little bit disconnected because it was my first time experiencing a US show. Not that the show itself had anything off or off-putting, because it was really fun. There was lots of stuff to see, and of course I know many of the brands. It was just a different kind of experience, I guess, and I'm not sure how to compare them accurately or fairly yet. So when I get back to Axpona this year, hopefully, fingers crossed, I get some work for that, then I will be able to get a better feel for that environment. But Montreal is always a party. I mean, that's the French for you, the French Canadian. Lots of brands here. PS Audio also brought up their, was it the F30 or F40 tower speakers? They were debuting them a couple years ago. So that was awesome. So there's a lot of brands. I mean, I don't know how many are here. They're not listed or numbered, but that's a lot of brands that are going to be represented. Tricell is where I visited recently. That's on my YouTube channel. One of the videos earlier, the walkthrough of the store and the sound rooms, and I met with Vince, who walked me through those spaces. So Tricell is going to be represented here in 3 different rooms. That's awesome. Villeneuve Audio Video in Montreal 6 and 7. So this is also 6 and 7. So many of these rooms are going to be doubled up with a lot of the distributors for different products, different types of things. We see Westmount 6, that kind of thing. So they're doubled up for different brands. So clarification, True Voice of Reason, 30, 20, and 10. So the 30s are the largest towers, the 20s are the next ones down, and the 10s are the new smallest towers. Right. So I knew I was going somewhere there. I guess I got like F40 from the Ferrari car, which is not accurate. So that's Montreal Audio Fest. This will be March of 2024, March 22nd, 23rd, 24th. Tickets are on sale. The list of exhibitors is there. That's really awesome. So if you're in the northwest of the US and you feel like experiencing something different, this will be the 35th anniversary of this show, which is pretty amazing. 35 years of hosting audio shows. That's pretty incredible. And of course, you can subscribe to the PMA magazine for all of their articles, written and otherwise. A lot of these other contributors here. Some of my own articles from Toronto Audio Fest are listed at the PMA site. If I can be so bold as to direct you to such things, articles, you go down here, lots of different stuff. If you scroll to, let me see, not reviews, there's lots of reviews here. HiFi show calendar. So these are all the shows coming up listed on PMA website. I'm not really sure where they would list the Toronto shows. This is from a couple months ago. If I put my name in there, I'm sure it would come up. Anyhow, lots of articles to read if you're into reading materials like that. Audio Fest. So we get down here, you see here's the Toronto Audio Fest best of. A lot of different rooms here, 22. Some of these rooms. See, here's one of the articles. This is something that I wrote. Of course, here's my name pops up. Hello. All the articles are listed under the name. So there's about 13 here as far as I remember. If you're interested, you could do that. Follow along. So that's part of the company that puts on the Montreal Audio Fest. They are all related. It's really nice to have the similar company taking care of Toronto and Montreal. So everything's familiar. The brands and representatives from all these companies have a familiar and easy time just moving in and setting everything up and doing all that kind of thing. So it's nice to have that kind of familiar and comfortable atmosphere when you're displaying at these shows. And moving on to the next one, later on this year, we will have Axpona 2024. The tickets are on sale now, it looks like. That's awesome. So it will be in the same place as far as I remember. 200 listening rooms, which is insane. I don't often use the term insane because I find like it's overused. But to put it in perspective, the Florida Audio Show has 83 rooms, which I feel is quite a lot to cover in one go in 3 days. And 200 rooms is nearly impossible to cover all rooms in one weekend. So unless there's a publication company that has multiple people going, there's no way that one publication, if they have one representative, to be able to cover all 200 rooms. I mean, I'm not really sure what an audience is looking for in coverage. I have an idea what I would like to see at these shows, but some rooms sometimes, or many of the times that they present, don't have anything necessarily new or something that's been covered already. So I'm not entirely sure it's necessary to cover them every time they present a room. Now, I know that it can be off-putting to some companies or brands that don't have any representation at these shows, and they think, oh, you skipped our room, or that's a disrespect of some kind. And no, believe me, it isn't. And I've done my own shooting and reporting and stuff like that, and it does take up a lot of time. And your resources are limited when you have these shows to report on. And if I'm solo at a show, even at 80 rooms over the period of 3 days, given how long the show is open for to the public and for press, it leaves only about 5 minutes per room to do photos, talk to reps, do any kind of video, and sit down, assuming the room is empty at the time you walk in, and listen to anything. So it is really difficult to compress that many rooms and cover everything all at once. So it's bound to happen that some coverage just won't happen. It's not a disrespect. It's not a gloss over because there's no interest. It's just because there's so much to do and so little time that you either sacrifice all your quality and rush through it, or you have to make some sacrifices somewhere and compromise, much like everything in the audio business is. Comment from True Voice of Reason: there's big venues only miles from me, but the highfalutin people don't want to go there. That's okay. I'll still go to the record fest. So to give you an idea how big it is, certain hardware vendors have over 1,500 tables. Yikes. That's, yeah, I don't know what I would do. I mean, this is already a really big event. 200 rooms is 600 plus brands. Like, that's a lot. Headphone room, dedicated 2-channel room. It's a fantastic hotel. Some of my photos are already there. So the exhibitor list we will browse. See if this pops up here. So this is a little bit different. So you can filter by company type, what they're represented as, the filter by brands. I mean, you could just scroll through here instead of this whole list, but like it says, there's over 600. So I'm not going to call out all of these names. The reason why I'm actually showing it is these shows are trying to give you a heads up on what's going on at their shows. Axpona is 2 months away. It's in April, and you already have a reasonable list of how many brands and what rooms are in. So for press reasons, it's nice to know what's going on ahead of time so you can plan out how much resources, how much time, and how many things you're going to need going into the show. You could set everything up and coordinate with people. So if it's a really big show like this one, you may need more than one type of rep to go around to cover everything. That way these publications and brands can figure that out ahead of time. Now, when it's very last minute and you don't know what's going on up until the last second, maybe the public, obviously it's going to be a surprise for them and they don't need to plan as much. But for press, it's definitely a benefit to have them represented and have these brands like in a list so you can plan ahead. I mean, Florida is already challenging me to figure out my timing and like how I'm going to manage everything, but it's nice to see it coming through, and I'm very glad to see these brands out and represented like this. Definitely excited. There's only the most exciting thing for me at this show that I heard of. Let me see, I'm looking for the names. I don't see Audio Group Denmark here, but I'm sure they're going to be included. So let me see by brand if I can find them here. Scroll. Dun, dun, dun. I'm looking for one particular brand. I spoke with one of the owners. Yes, this room. And this representative, they will probably be showing in a number. See, they're going to have 3 different rooms. They're going to be representing a number of different brands. They do deal with the Audio Group Denmark, and this is why I'm excited. Michael Borson himself is said to be attending the Axpona show. Now, if anybody's familiar with Michael Borson, you will know that he designed for Rido Acoustics beforehand. Now he designs for Borson Acoustics, who is part of the larger group of companies, the Audio Group Denmark. Lars I have met a number of times. I've met Peter a number of times. I believe I met with, I can't remember. I'm terrible with pronouncing names from a lot of other places, but Martin, I believe I've met once or twice. Axpona rooms. I was showing at one of these rooms. I'm terrible with names, so forgive me if you see this video, but I am definitely excited to meet up with these guys again. Their products are fantastic. I'm actually sort of working my way towards a listening demo with one of our local Canadian reps, who sadly isn't making it to Florida this year. However, that means that I get to go down and represent. But my good buddy Jay Lee, who has his own channel, you guys may know Jay's Journey. He will be representing his brand and his thing in other shows, but sadly not at Florida. So we've had this conversation about some stuff. I'm going down to Florida. He's given me some tips, and I appreciate it as a local friend and someone that talks about audio quite a bit. We've become familiar, so that's awesome. So at other shows, Jay's presence is very well known. At this show at Florida, he's not going, but we've had a conversation about getting a demo. Now, I don't want to give too much away. Some of his videos have already showcased what he has in store and possible reviews coming up, but I think that maybe next week after the show, I will get a chance to go visit his room and hear what his room sounds like. So I'm very excited for that. If you guys don't know Jay, please get to know Jay. I can probably link his channel here somewhere. Let me see if I can do that. Add a link. We'll go into YouTube and we'll find Jay. There's his channel right there. Lots of videos to talk about. There's the most impressive thing that I've seen on here, and yes, he's done it. This video here has officially hit 1 million views. That's pretty incredible. Kudos to Jay. He's got over 20 million views on his channel, and this one is no exception. I'm gonna try to get a good thumbnail of him, otherwise he might get upset. That's not the best shot. He's a better looking dude than that. That's not bad. So anyways, in his room, he's got a fantastic listening room. It's all decked out with a lot of treatments. So that's his channel. If you guys don't know Jay, get to know Jay, subscribe to his channel. He's got a lot of awesome content. So hopefully I'll get to hear his room soon. And then maybe some more stuff at Axpona. I believe we're both going to Axpona. We're both going to Montreal Audio Fest, which is in March. And then Axpona is in April 12, 13, and 14. So yeah, a lot of fun stuff. Does anybody have questions? True Voice of Reason's been here. Vel is still here as far as I can see. 2 or 3 observers, watchers have come in throughout this show. I don't know how long we are in the stream, 30 minutes. I said about an hour, but you know what? If we run out of stuff to talk about, then we run out of stuff to talk about. That's fine. I just wanted to give a shout out to all of these shows that are coming up that I am capable, have been invited, and have been talked to about attending so far. Now, I know that there's a lot of other shows. That's no shade on anybody else. I know that the show in California is happening. There was an announcement for the show in Las Vegas. I don't know any information about it. I wasn't invited. So that's all I know about that. Capital Audio Fest happens every year, which is also pretty close to where I live, easier to get to, shorter flights, cheaper costs. No invites for that. No one talking about any kind of work. I know there's a Pacific Northwest show, which is awesome. I would love to get out Northwest and meet my buddy Nick at Black Ocean Audio. I will go to Black Ocean Audio's site over here. Let me look it up. My Instagram has obviously got some really sketchy stuff. I'm calling out everybody's names here. There we go. So Black Ocean Audio is in the Northwest. He's now in Washington. Some fantastic products. Builds them himself, natural wood. He's displayed at some shows before. He had them at the show. I believe he presented at Pacific Northwest show. I mean, a lot of people that are, like Jason at Audiophile Junkies had commented on the stuff many times and rave reviews. A lot of the feedback from the products are really good. A lot of people that don't know the products are saying things like, it looks like a DIY thing. And of course, Nick builds them himself. You can see here, he's got a shop at his home or at his warehouse, and he builds them all by hand in the US, sources parts from Europe and US, and does his best work that way. So they're all, it's all made in the US. And if this is what people want, then that's what you're getting with these products. So let me look if I can. There's a shot from one of the shows. I believe this was the home theater show, the home entertainment show in California. Fantastic shots. Pacific Northwest show doesn't look like it got represented here anywhere, but amazing looking products. And I would love to go out to the Northwest and check out his studio, the workshop, the sound of the speakers, all that kind of stuff. A lot of friends around the US and audio manufacturers that I'd love to get to, and they're, they have limited resources to display everywhere. So that's why audio shows, if you're not close to an audio store, Like Aaron's Audio Corner, he did a tour recently of a local shop that had a ton of stuff to listen to, but not everybody gets a chance to listen to stuff like that. So Vel's just hanging. That's good. Let me see what this says. If you were going for fun, how would you plan differently? Well, I wouldn't need to bring much equipment. My planning wouldn't be so much as time management. I would go based on what I'm interested in and locate those rooms, and then I would spend more time with those rooms instead of being able to nail everything and being considerate about who's made contact, who I have to represent, the kinds of things I do in the room. It would be less stress and easier to just go in and be casual about it rather than focused on tasks that I have to take care of, like written content, pay attention to certain things. It's way less fun doing work at these shows than it is just attending. Absolutely. Bet you've never heard of OMWB or the Pville group. You're probably right. The OMWB, that reminds me of a company that did the Fleetwood speakers. That sounds familiar, but I'm not entirely sure. So you may have to school me on that one. Do I have to look it up? Let's look it up. I'm not shy. Let me take this off the screen while I look it up, because just in case. OMWB, which means I don't know. What does... There's so many. You're going to have to be a little bit more specific than that. There's like migration groups and acronym finders, and I've got stuff for like Urban Dictionary. It's like, is it audio? Let me put audio behind it. Nope. I don't see anything specific. So yeah, I'm going to need more information than that. I know that the delay in the stream is probably 30 or 40 seconds. So anybody watching is not going to get the same content. So yeah, Florida's coming up. That's the reason why we're here. Montreal is coming up in March. Axpona is coming up in April. We'll go back to the splash screen. It's what I want to do when I retire. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what that means. Stop being cryptic. Just give us the answer. No acronyms. We're not professional around here. Just spell it out. Say what it is. Use the long words. Force everybody to do the long work. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. This sort of layout helps me arrange like my timing, which floors I need to visit, how many rooms or brands per floor. So this is Florida. Not every web page, as you see, they don't have a floor map. They just give you a list of what's what, but they don't tell you where it is. So this is really helpful in terms of if I'm short on time, then I can locate them very, very quickly. Now, I don't know if there's going to be other press groups, press releases or other types of information, but this site, as far as this show is concerned, this is very helpful in terms of like where everything is. There are other groups like this. The vendor list here shows room numbers, location 8109, so you can figure it out in terms of map, but it's not listed by the floor. Like this is all alphabetical order, but it's all floors and mixed and rooms, and it doesn't actually have all this stuff. Now, mind you, let me see if I can find it. I do have the booklet from last year, and this does have more of a floor layout. Let me see if I can scroll to one of the pages. See, here we do have the layout. Oh my God, it's so blown out. So there you go. You can see that it's basically a hotel floor, like straight hallway, and the rooms are listed that way. So in the booklet that they give you, it is listed, but it isn't listed on the webpage. So that's sad. I mean, this is already vertical oriented. You could easily just put this on the webpage or on an app that you can download, and you can browse this way and just flip through each of the floors. Simple change. I mean, it wouldn't be that complicated. Lots of different stuff in here. There's lots of lists, lots of information in the booklet itself. On the webpage, not so much. So that's just one change that I can see that would make it easier to navigate. So let me see, go back to this one. So this is Old Man's Workbench, my future channel, and anything I watch to build. Okay, cool. That's awesome. I do watch a lot of build channels and do it yourself stuff, but when it comes across my radar, if somebody links me or asks me to join, or if it comes across in the algorithms, because you know how it is. I mean, YouTube and social media is linked in such a way that we get shown stuff that just happens to be part of their programming. It's not necessarily curated by a network, but it is curated by these algorithms, which, you know, lead us by the hand. So if this is your channel, then I've seen some kind of content. I'm sure that I subscribe and all that, but I have to go back and become more acquainted with it because I'm interested in how stuff works. So Vel's saying, if you had work at the show, but only for one room, would you? Brand top 3. If I had to work for only one brand, it's hard to say. A lot of the ideas about work is who's going to pay me better. It's not about loyalty at this point, because being biased and being paid to do work means that I'm objectively doing work that, like, if I was doing photography or recording or making videos, then it's no longer a report, because you can't pay for advertising, you know what I mean? Because then it's complicated. Show reporting and coverage is everything. I mean, it's not for one brand only. It's really, and it's not even for each of the shows asking for coverage. So I'm not being paid to say good things about them. I'm being asked to cover for a different publication, which is a little bit different. So if I had to work at the show for only one room, then I mean, I'd want to work at one of the more popular ones, the best sounding ones, and with the best crew. But that's tough, because I can name top 3 brands, but it's hard to name like which rooms would be the most fun to work in. It's different like when you're visiting, but working in and all that is a different scenario. So I can name my top 3. Obviously right now, the Audio Group Denmark are one of my favorite groups. They've always been really fun. The Akora room sounds fantastic at every show that I've ever been to. And I mean, the guys, the crew with Geshelli Labs is amazing too. They're a lot of fun to hang out with, but that's the same as so many. So narrowing it down to 3 is like leaving 3 friends out almost. It's almost not fair. It's hard to say. It's like trying to narrow down. If somebody asks you what your favorite songs are, you can only pick 3 favorite songs. It's really hard. A lot of your taste is open and fluent, so it's difficult to do that. A lot of really great stuff out there, so try to experience as much as possible. If I was going to recommend anything, and that would depend on their personal taste. It's audio after all. Everything is really personal. So I am time traveling from the future. You will meet me then, because I'll rattle off all the names you've had. Yeah, that's true. I have changed my name quite a few times. That's a little bit confusing for some of my friends, but they'll follow up. Oh, look at this brat. Okay, top 10. No, can't do it. Can't name just 10. There are some that stand out that I'm excited about because they have new products. But I mean, other than that, it's always about experiencing something that's either tried and true, personal taste favorites, or something new because you want to have this new experience, have a new reference, a new point of enjoyment, a new experience. If it's set up in a new way, like SVS has something new and Geshelli Labs has something new, and a couple of the other brands are bringing something new. All of these types of opportunities are your first chance to see something new, whether it's turntables, headphones, amplifiers, DACs. Orchard Audio's got new amplifiers and new chassis, so I want to hear how they sound and meet the owners. And it's not even about the gear when I go to these shows. For me, a lot of the times it's about meeting with the people that I know. Like the guys who run Next Level Audio, they're from Chicago, but they travel to Florida and they do show in Chicago, which is Axpona, and even Capital Audio Fest. They'll travel with Audio Group Denmark and display their speakers. They recently had Jay's Audio Lab. He was co-hosting an event that happened in Chicago, so he went up there and filmed the event. And I've met with Jay before. There's so many different people with the same names, but shows in Florida, I'll be able to meet Youthman and Don Dunn and Don Henley with Horizon Home Theater, and maybe Ike, Easy HT Tech. Those are his channels. I believe that Axpona, Techno Dad's coming to Axpona. Giles is coming to Axpona. Bass Therapy, HiFi Turtle. Florida, Woody Sound Up is coming to Florida. So like, it's not even about the gear at this point. These shows bring in people that I know from the community that have their own channels and represent parts of the community, right? Like they represent audiences and certain interests and certain personal tastes. So when you have all of these creators together in one place, it allows us to exchange a vibe and meet for the first time in person. Say, this is okay. I like being able to talk with people this way, but it's way better if we could talk face to face. So really at these shows, for me as a creator, for me as an enthusiast, the audio stuff is one side of it. Yes, it sounds amazing, but each individual person brings their personality and their experience and their stories and all of those things to the show, and that's the part that you want to share in more so than having a listen to the product, because otherwise that's very inhuman to just listen to gear and walk out without any kind of connection. You could do that, and that's okay if that's what you feel like, but for me personally, if I was going to name and I can't name 3 or 10 because there are just so many people that are welcoming and fun and generous, and they have such integrity and enthusiasm for what they're doing, whether they're an owner, a representative, an agent of some kind, or whatever you want to call them, creator. There's so much of an energy there that you want to experience that with them. The excitement comes out when something is really good. You turn to look at somebody during a live show and be like, oh my God, you see that amazing guitar solo, or the DJ dropped this amazing song, or that's the part of it that really draws us in as fans of something. So the same thing with car shows, sports events. So whatever people are enjoying with the football game right now, good for them, because they're together, they're groups of people. That's what human beings enjoy, is being together with familiar feelings and enjoy something together, or celebrating in comedy shows, or like I said, with sports events or car shows, or surfing as a group, or you know what I mean? So anybody that has enthusiasm for similar tastes, that's what we're like as human beings. We're tribal in a sense and group oriented in a sense. So that's the really biggest part that I can take away from these shows, is going down to see people, not necessarily the gear. So Val saying, true, but I got you talking, didn't I? Oh my God. Yes. All you. It's all you. Take the credit. The community that blossomed during 2020 is what I look for more than gear. Yes, right. So when that happened, when 2020 rolled around and COVID kind of hit the world in terms of socializing and stopped some shows, there was an experience of people that decided to present shows and audio groups and allowed for brands like Joe and Tell, Techno Dad, Youthman, and that whole crew started the HiFi, the daily HiFi show is a result of doing HiFi Summit. And I don't remember what the first name was, the HiFi AV something. I don't remember what they named the show. Team effort. There's a layup and a dunk and a 2-pointer and a 3-pointer. Yes, that's how we work. That's socializing. They created this idea of hosting like Zoom meeting type online chats and conversations with brands and reps and designers that brought an audience together so you could tune in and watch the show for a paid amount to support the online service. And then there was like after hours show, which you could join in, which they still do on a daily basis. So you could join and talk to them after the show for a small Patreon fee. And it really did bring a lot of people together. My early experiences with many people and connecting with the large audience was definitely through that idea, and it grew from there. The community's grown a lot. Every one of their channels has basically hit 100,000 subscribers now, and they were around 50 or 60 at the time that it started. So that says a lot about what they're doing and what that idea does. It really is about bringing people together and that people connection side, more so than the gear. I mean, the gear is fantastic. Let's not forget, if it wasn't for this gear being so great, people wouldn't have the same kind of enthusiasm about it. I mean, people gather all the time, but you don't see groups of people having that much fun at the park, do you? I mean, dog parks maybe, but then you have a similar thing. So it really is people being drawn together around a similar topic. So where are we at for time? 46 minutes. I think that I've covered a lot of these already. Montreal, so Florida, Montreal, Axpona, shows coming up in the future that I will be attending. Florida's next week. I'm very excited for that. First has HiFi Summit. The last was the AV Summit. So AV, so they brought in TVs and projectors, and you're right. HiFi Summit was the first show, but they decided to make it the AV Summit so they can include TVs and projectors and screens and other kinds of things that happen, like Valencia seating. You could get different sponsors from different areas because it's an open show that includes video as well, because a lot of those guys are really into home theater building and home theater tours, which Youthman does a lot of, and the community is really big on home theater. The 2-channel thing has a lot of representation at shows, and home theater is not represented as much. So there is other shows happening. If I can be so bold as to look up this other show, let me remove this. I'll do Youthman a favor here and showcase his, hold on. It's kind of hard to look up. This page will load. Yes. Okay. So here you go. This is another show that happens throughout the year. Youthman and a number of different other vendors and creators have created this experience where you can purchase tickets. You can go down to these events. Let me see. Brands, creators, exhibitor rooms. Let's see what they have on the go. So there's different size halls and rooms, demo rooms of different sizes. And these rooms are generally geared towards a theater experience and comparison experience. There's lots of different options here. You can rent truss systems, so you could set up Atmos. You can follow along with a lot of this stuff here. It's a very different kind of show, I will say, and it's really cool that they put it together. So vendors that don't necessarily have the same sort of options to display home theater and hi-fi, hi-fi systems for sure, but home theater experiences in this sense. So they have these larger spaces with optional rooms and the ability to set up surround speakers with larger screens and experience a difference between some things, because what I've heard that they do is compare like projector brands side by side, TVs side by side. So you're getting A/B comparisons at a live demonstration. So it is a very different kind of event. Now, I probably won't be going to this show with the number of shows that I already have planned, the 2 local shows that I do, plus the 2 shows that are in the US. Right now, from where I sit, my budget, my day job, all that kind of thing, I literally cannot afford to be going to all of these shows to do coverage without sponsors or invites or help or anything like that. So it's still a little bit small in my business stature, but it is growing, and I am so grateful for every opportunity that I have. That's why I have been a little bit nervous about making the Florida show work out as best as possible, try to cover as much as possible, have as much fun as possible. And really, that's all it's about. I mean, the future's never really promised, and all we have is to live for today as best as possible. So there's my lineup of shows. That's February, March, April. May is the Munich show, and then June, the M-Wave experience, as well as the show, the home entertainment show, will happen in June at a different date. So not excluding them, just, off the top of my head. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you being here. Thank you, True Voice of Reason. Thank you to the viewers that have joined on and not commented and enjoyed from afar without being known. That's fine. I can't see who's watching, but I appreciate the interaction. And yeah, that's enough for me for today. I believe that's more than enough chatter out of this box. And I'm going to get back to listen to some music. It's still about 9:30 here, which is awesome. The Super Bowl is probably going to be over pretty soon, is what it is. I hope that you've enjoyed this really quick showcase and talk about what's coming up and what my plans are. I hope to see more friends out in the world. These shows are always fun. Yeah, I'm a little bit out of ideas at this point. So I appreciate you. Thanks for joining and watching. If you see me at one of these shows, don't come talk to me. No, I'm kidding. Seems like I'm busy. Get away from me. I'm kidding. I'm generally pretty social, and I accept the fact that a lot of people have seen me in media, and I appreciate the support and the connection that we can make. So if you see me at the shows, then yes, let me know, where you've seen me, where you know me from, and say, hey, this and that, some sort of like an introduction without a surprise. It'd be like calling out a name and I don't know who you are. That's a little awkward. But yeah, say I met you from wherever or saw you here, and that's really nice. I'd like to connect with more people. So thank you very much, both of you. There's someone who knows my real name. Not like I didn't just show it off online anyhow. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you for supporting and following along with the journey. I hope to provide interesting photos and stories from the Florida show. I've never been so far south into the States before. I've been to Chicago, and that's about as far as I've gone. So Florida is going to be a very interesting time. Also very warm as far as I know. So anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Subscribe to here if you wish. You don't have to. I don't really like when people say subscribe all throughout an hour video and you haven't even seen anything yet, and they're telling you to click buttons. Look, you can subscribe if you want. I would rather you leave a comment down below or share the video with somebody or comment on something else. Instagram and Facebook have the same name. All three are like a 3-ring circus. If you don't have all three, you're missing something. So that kind of support means a lot more to me than just subscribing. Viewership and commenting is really good. I don't know how the subscribe and comment thing works. So if you're going to be at either one of the shows, Florida Audio Expo, Montreal Audio Fest, Axpona Expo, or maybe even M-Wave or the home entertainment show in June. I don't know where I'm going to be yet. It's a little bit far out. If you're around, let me know. Give me a comment. Send me a message. Reach me on one of the platforms. And until next time, thanks for being here. See you guys. Enjoy the rest of the Sunday. Watch the replays for the Super Bowl or whatever you want to do. I'll see you next time. Thank you.